It's the SDG Podcast. Before we get started, you can check us out on the web at solutiondesign.com/podcast or find us on all the social medias, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Solution Design Group. And it's another podcast. Welcome, gentlemen. With us, we got Peter Lawrence and one of our new consultants, Logan Kelly, is joining us today.
Hello.
And I'm Kyle Bach. Sorry, I interrupted you already, which I do all hour long. And I'm Kyle Bacher. We're going to talk about Apple Vision. Is it Apple Vision or Apple Vision Pro or Apple iVision or just Apple Vision?
Apple Vision Pro is the name.
Okay. Got to have the Pro in there.
Yeah.
And at around $4,000. Yeah, they'll drop the Pro and it'll be a little bit cheaper. But I tried them. Logan was nice enough to bring them in. Logan, how long have you had your Apple Vision goggles?
I got them at 3:30 the day they came out, and I had been planning on doing so for quite a long time. And so that was Friday the 2nd, and so it's been a week now. Yeah, in about an hour.
So they've been out for a week now.
And what, like you said, you were waiting for them to come out. How long had you been kind of keeping an eye on this, and when did you start getting interested in these things?
Yeah, so I guess my interest started when I was working at a computer repair shop in Uptown called PC Doodle. It was probably 10 years ago now. Whenever the original Oculus Dev Kit 1 came out, my boss ordered one up and got it before a lot of other people had a chance to see that. It was pretty cool. Like, it was really cool, basically, like getting into VR kind of before anyone had really seen it or anyone was really talking about it, and just kind of understanding what it was like. The headset was kind of bulky, but like I don't remember it being much heavier than any of the stuff that we have today. Like, I think as the technology increases, you know, there's more stuff that's added to it, and they also try to take things out as well. But yeah, I asked my buddy Max, who worked there with me, if he had any memories of it, and he was just kind of saying like he remembers the screen tearing and stuff like that, and the headaches that you would get if you wore it for a while. We have some videos that are pretty funny of us kind of like, we set it up in the front window sort of area, and we would have people walking down Hennepin and just kind of like looking at us just like I remember some pretty cool apps though. There was like, you're walking around in the woods in the dark, and there was some jump scares and stuff. There was kind of like a sort of Donkey Kong style game that was more of a side scroller, and so you got kind of a sense for what it was. I've kept my eye on the VR space for quite a while since then, ever since then really, but I haven't sprung for any headsets until I started hearing rumors of the Apple Vision Pro come out. I had actually gone to Game Informer. They have an office here in Minneapolis, and had done a demo of a couple different headsets in the meantime. And I didn't see enough to be compelling to buy something like that. And maybe the cost was prohibitive before, as I got kind of into software development, like I could maybe afford it, but I didn't see the advances that I wanted to see. And I guess ever since I started hearing about rumors of the Apple Vision Pro, I just thought that would be a good option because I know that they do UI really well. I know that, I have the ecosystem set up already. I have a lot of the applications. It's what I'm comfortable with. It would have my photos and everything like that. So as soon as the rumors started, I got interested, and I actually got impatient and did buy a MetaQuest Pro in the meantime. Used that a little bit. It's pretty impressive. It's the first thing that I've tried that I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, you don't have like the blurry vision quite as much. I tried the PlayStation VR 2 also, and I returned it. I played Horizon Zero, or the Call of the Mountain game on it, which was kind of crazy. You're like swinging through mountains and stuff like that, and like you have to jump over giant chasms, so it's like very sweaty palms, like that immersive experience that we had. But it just was really bulky. You had to plug it in, and it was also, you could only do things that the PlayStation allowed you to do. You couldn't browse the internet, do anything like that, and so it was all gaming and very limited. So I did return that. Got the MetaQuest Pro. Was pretty impressed with that, but I just didn't find myself being compelled to use it very often. I got Asgard's Wrath 2, I think. I played it, maybe for an hour one night, and it's still kind of like dizzying, which is, I think, a problem with a lot of the sort of immersive content in VR in general. Like, if you can't walk around, you're forced to do things like, you use your sticks to kind of go forward and back. Your brain is processing these things and getting kind of dizzy.
You're moving without moving, and so you get some of that dizziness in there because you're not really moving, you're not really walking. Your eyes are walking, and so your ears think that you should be too.
Yeah.
It's like a disconnect.
Have you guys used any of the other VR headsets and have experience with them that you can speak to?
I have. Peter, you had some that you were wearing when we got on the call.
Yeah. I've got my fun pretend headset.
Oh, nice.
Here.
Perfect.
We did a outing once with can't remember if it was a Microsoft group or what, but we went out to sort of an arcade, headset arcade, and that was quite the experience because you got a taste of it. They did the 2x4 plank walking, where you feel like you're really high up and stuff, and that was a little sweaty palms, not terrible because the headset wasn't quite immersive enough. They did show a Google Maps immersion that was going around at the time, and that looked super amazing.
I still think that's one of my favorite things to do. I just got that working in the MetaQuest Pro maybe a week or two ago. I had done that at the Game Informer, and you just spin the world around, you find a spot, and you zoom in, and you can go all the way down to Street View, and they have, you go visit your house, visit places that you've been, or...
I do that just on my computer. I'll go on there for like an hour, and My first VR experience was at the Mall of America right when they opened. They had that sports bar, and they had like a VR thing, and it was about, I don't know, 600 pounds. And it was just this like flying pterodactyl. That was the immersive experience. Yeah. And I think I had it on for about 5 minutes, and then I had to go home and go into a dark room because it gave me a instant migraine. So then I bought a Samsung phone, like the Galaxy, and they came out with a thing that your phone would slide into.
That's right. Yeah,
I tried that, and that was like better than the pterodactyl. But it still gave me headaches, and it had the blurry sides. I mean, it had its share of problems. Then I got the MetaQuest one last year, and
the 3 or the Pro, the one where it's pass through, or no? Okay,
it wasn't pass through. And to me, that's one of the issues I had was I just didn't like seeing without seeing. Like, I'm seeing, but I'm not seeing in the room I'm in. So I wouldn't ever like do anything where I had to move around because I didn't want to walk into stuff.
Peripheral vision a little bit too.
And I mean, it was cool, and I watched some stuff on it. But again, I haven't had any cravings for it. Usually when I'm into some kind of tech or get a new toy or something that I really want, like, it just pulls me in to using it. It doesn't just sit there collecting dust. And I didn't have that. Now, I tried Logan's a few days ago, and since then I've had this itch to go get one. And I'm even going to go get a fitting as early as next week at the Apple store at Ridgedale. And
you get rid of your big TV then, or?
You need to close your mouth, sir. Never say that. Logan, I have an 86-inch TV. I'm a movie buff.
Yeah.
And I like TV, and I use it as my command center. So I'm not just watching one big movie. I've got a movie, and then I'm reading stuff and all at the same time. So it's kind of like what you can do inside the Vision. You know, you're not just limited to an immersive experience. Like, there was a lot of stuff you could do in that space. And then I watched the video that you just sent out, and where you had your whole workstation area set up and multiple screens and all that.
Yeah. And
that was super cool. And I think we'll tack that on to the end of this podcast, the video version. So if people hang on afterwards, they can see that. But yeah, I was amazed. I was blown away by it. And it took me about 3 seconds for that to happen. So the price point, though, maybe we can get into that later. I want to kind of touch on you mentioned a developer perspective as part of the reason you got it.
Yeah. I kind of want to, I guess like two areas that I kind of see as emerging in software development space that I don't think are going to be avoidable are AI and then whether it be AR or VR, just like kind of the combination of the two. And this was kind of the first experience where I could see that, this AR VR thing is coming, like regardless of whether we asked for it or not. You can just kind of tell that there's things that you can do if you have a truly, kind of pass-through experience that's not super interruptive. If you got the weight of the goggles down a little bit and you made it so that they're more socially acceptable to wear, like something that's just like a set of glasses or sunglasses as opposed to just walking around like you got like a little wire coming down into your pocket and you look like you're wearing snowboard glasses and you're gesturing all crazy like this. There's definitely technology that you can implement that exists today that would make that like sort of this sort of experience better. And then there's also, I just think that with any technology, obviously things get smaller, lighter, faster, and just kind of like more socially acceptable too. But if you're wearing those glasses and you have a truly immersive sort of like, or not immersive, but see-through experience, I could imagine I'm taking AWS certifications right now, and there's maybe 24 hours of video on it. And I do a lot of running. And like if I wanted to work out or something like that, you could see just having these on. At this point, I can watch videos and, exercise or work out in my house, depending on what it is. You obviously don't want to break them and things like that. But like you can have the video kind of displaying, and like I'll be like using a mace or something like that, and you bring it down and it would be in front of your face, but the screen stays visible there,
Right.
And so like if you're running too, like it would be kind of weird. You'd have this far away, like 1,000-yard stare into the distance as you're watching this AWS video while you're running. But I mean, I listen to podcasts all the time, and if I could listen to these certifications and just have, glance up at the it's just like slides and stuff. I probably wouldn't want to watch a
video
movie
refresher
and run or anything, but yeah. And so with the development question you asked, get back to your original question, I want to play around with Swift. I want to play around with Unity and just kind of like see what you can do. I've already pulled up the dev kit with Xcode and just kind of, you can set the type of application to Vision Pro, and you can get a playground, and they give you, just kind of like a scaffolding of code that immediately has you working within a room where you can click on the mouse and move up and down. And you can see like two spherical objects in the, kind of like mock room that they have set up, and start, just playing around with the code. I haven't done a ton of Swift stuff in terms of UI. I've like, tweaked things for React Native apps and stuff like that. But the language is pretty intuitive and actually a really cool programming language. It's a little bit like Python-y, but it's, like a type sort of, it's more advanced, I guess, in a lot of different ways. Probably going to sound silly describing it to people who use it a lot, so I'll stop there. But
so Logan, let me ask you this. Are you coding in Swift inside of the Vision Pro for the Vision Pro, or
I haven't yet.
Are we not there yet?
No, the only time I opened it up was I think the night before I went and picked it up just to kind of see what it was like. And I kind of started reading through the documentation of Swift years ago and picked that back up. And yeah.
Peter, obviously you've not seen the IT crowd to know that if you type Google into Google, you'll break the internet. If you code for the device while using the device.
You're in a recursive loop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do. Like, that's the other question, right? Is everyone at Apple issued one of these, and are they now sitting in 2-foot by 2-foot pods where there's just lots of gesturing and hooked up to machines that give them water every once in a while, and then they take a 10-minute break after. I don't know. Like, how long can you wear this continuously? What's your record so far?
I mean, it's not. There's not any limitations in terms of kind of like getting physically dizzy or anything like that. Like I haven't used any of the apps and felt any of that. There's not like a ton of truly immersive sort of like AAA style games where you would be doing some of the motion that we were describing earlier. But battery lasts like 2 to 4 hours. I watched Oppenheimer in there. I did split that up, but part of that was just because it's 3 hours long, and I didn't want to stay up till like 2 a.m. on a weekday. But if you're laying down on a pillow or whatever, so there is like a little bit of an issue with the weight of it. It's front heavy. It's technically a little bit lighter than the Quest Pro, but the Quest Pro has like a balance in the back, which is the battery. And since this thing, the battery sits in your pocket, it's a little bit front heavy.
So do you get like a back of the neck kind of pain after a while?
It just feels like there's a little bit of pressure. Like it's not necessarily a pain. It's just like you can kind of feel your head like pulling forward a little bit. But then you lay down on your couch, you're on a pillow, you don't feel that at all. And so you put it up in the air, your neck is perfectly straight. You don't have to worry about like TV too high kind of stuff.
Nice.
And or like laying down in bed, like I sleep on my side, and so I threw it over to the side and I could watch that too. And so if you're laying down, obviously that's less of an issue. And honestly, it doesn't bother me really ever. I do a lot of this other synth rider sort of like dancing kind of, it's kind of like Guitar Hero or something like that, where you're like, you have balls in your hands and you're getting these things as they come in, and this really...
Is that the one I did yesterday?
Yeah.
Or day before?
Maybe you
that was awesome. That I wish I had been standing up, because it was
sitting down just a bit ago.
Yeah, it's not a sitting down game, but that was so cool. I got to tell you, that tightrope one where you're looking down, like that's the whole 360 like VR experience. And I'm not a huge fan of heights. If I got to use that second step on the step ladder, I get a little nervous. And man, it was I had to stop.
So I showed that to my buddy Phil last night too, and he said the same thing. So I didn't get this far in the so this is Apple's kind of proprietary filming. We should mention that. It's not necessarily, like a 3D sort of movie. You can watch 3D movies in there too. It's like on a flat screen, but it's got depth to it. This is all around. And so they have a couple different experiences. One is here in Norway, and this woman flies in a helicopter up to the mountains and puts a tightrope across a chasm. And she walks across it, and there's like these close-up shots of her face. There's these close-up shots of her like, getting the knot tied. She's got one little rope that is tied across, and then she's walking across, describing how it would be 14 seconds to hit the ground if she fell. And so as it progresses, apparently, like I said, I didn't get to this part, but 2 people gave me this feedback. There's like this giant shot of her feet, which are feet that are understandably calloused because she's walking across tightropes and stuff like that. So it's like giant in your face. He's just like, his reaction was pretty hilarious. He's like, "Whoa, holy feet!" But
oh man,
apparently she falls too, which is what Kurt was saying. I think
that would have been nightmarish.
Yeah, turning people off a little bit.
But she doesn't like fall all the way down, right? She must catch herself. Because that'd be like, why do you have this on here, Apple? Like, this is horrible.
Then there's 14 seconds of screaming there at the end.
Yeah,
exactly. A little discomforting.
That didn't pass their QA department. They had to.
She was the second person who tried to.
So you've got those types of experiences, and you've got the kind of pass through experiences where you can see see what's in the room.
Just a little bit.
Yes.
Sure. We've talked about like the fitting, right? That they fit you for this device.
Yeah.
And you're sharing it with a lot of people that it wasn't fit for, right?
Yep.
Like Kyle, you said you had a great experience, right? Is there even a need for a fitting then? Or does the fitting make it even better?
Yeah, I think it would have. And I'm going to do that and I'll report back. But in the fitting, they take into account like the size of your head and your vision. I wear reading glasses, and I have like 3 pair for 3 different distances. Right. And so it's like, well, which is the sweet spot for me? Because you can't really wear glasses. I managed to fit glasses inside the Meta. And it's not comfortable. and these are not as big. They're a tighter fit. At least Logan's were. So they're going to give you the cushion thing that fits your face, and that's going to have different sizes. So what I noticed is Logan's were a little small for me.
I actually had to get a different one when I was in the store too. I can speak a little bit to this. Like basically, when you pre-ordered, they had you take a video of your face, kind of similar to what you do when you put the persona, like you take a persona video, which I can pop in and like be virtually here a little bit later. They take a little bit of a measurement of your face. When I got in there, I actually asked for, something that was a little bit different because I could kind of see a little bit through the nose hole there, as it were. But in terms of sharing them, there was a guest mode that I didn't quite figure out when I was at SCG the other day. And so I was trying to give it, to Kyle and to a couple other people. Actually seemed to function pretty well. Nobody really complained that there were things that were off or like things that weren't working quite right. But when I was using it with my buddy last night, he said he was having trouble when he was looking at things. It would select something slightly different. And so we looked more into it, and you can put it into a guest mode. And when you're in guest mode, after you hand it off, it does the initial setup for that person. And so it has you look at your hands, and then it has you basically select, there's 6 little dots in a couple different lighting environments. Like you look at it, and then you do the pinch to select. And after that sets up, he was like, oh, yeah, this is perfect now. And then he was just,
nice,
having a ball in there. And it was a little bit frustrating because there were some things. So we ran into an issue where we were screen sharing. I was just casting it onto his TV. And that helps me understand what he's doing in case he runs into any problems. But we couldn't figure out why the immersive content and the 3D content wasn't working. It seemed like there was a glitch or something, but it just turns out that you can't cast and do that at the same time.
Can't cast and do 3D, sure.
Yeah, we took it off and put it back on a couple times, and he had to go through the setup, which was a little frustrating. It's like, it would be nice to be able to save profiles or something like that, but I have a lot of thoughts about like what might be coming in the next OS, just based on user feedback and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that it's probably going to be more comfortable if you get your own, obviously, but it's not going to necessarily prevent someone from using it. They don't have either contacts or, like some sort of issue that would be solved by the inserts.
So if you have a family, you don't want to buy everybody one of these, but you might want to have one.
Yeah.
So it's like, Dad, can I use the thing? And it's like, yeah, but it's going to suck because it was fitted to me and you got a tiny little head. I wonder if you can have it. I don't know if they sell extra cushion things or how you would do that.
So yeah, on a quick search, it says that there isn't a way to store those. But again, that's something that you could fix with the software update, I think.
Yeah.
It's not that many points if you can do it in a few minutes. That there can't be that much data to, I mean, if you buy the terabyte size one anyway, for sure, right?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if right now, like, the physical fit is so finicky that they didn't want this going across multiple people with different fits that have different experiences that might say, well, it didn't work very well for me. I didn't like it because of this. It's like, well, it's not fitted to you. It's like you release one of these into the market. You want positive experiences, and you have, your tolerances are fairly tight to have the best experience.
So they did kind of say that, when I was asking them about sharing it with my friends, because they did the in-store demo when I picked it up, they were like, just have them come into the store. Like, if they wear glasses, they might not have the greatest experience or whatever. But so far, 2 of the people have, you yourself, Kyle, and my buddy Phil. He had glasses. He didn't have contacts that he could put in, and he still was amazed by it. And so I don't think it's as far off as, it's not terrible. It's not a terrible experience by any means, but, everyone's vision is a little bit different, and you might run into that.
I'll tell you, that movie, like, watch the movie on that thing, you can make that screen huge. And so you're actually like turning your head to watch different things happen on the screen. I was like, I just want this to watch the next Dune that comes out.
Yep. Yeah.
And what was nice about the 3D is I didn't have to wear 3D glasses.
Well, yeah, you technically do, but
So they have a 3D experience or a 3D movie experience that you can watch things in.
yeah, and that's huge. Like imagine playing, video games are rendered in 3D already. And
Right.
if you're thinking about like a AAA game that they just allow you to have that like Z sort of index involved,
Yep.
even if it is like you're watching it through kind of a portal, which is how some of these arcade games work, you can have that depth. And that's part of it. That's literally what it's doing. It's X, Y, and Z for everything that's in there, including the pass through. It's just a video, So yeah, 3D movies like.
Can you
Go ahead.
Go back to that? So the pass through, you're not really seeing through the screen. You're seeing a rendering of reality around you, right?
Yeah, it's like a high def, they have cameras all over the thing. I'm gonna show, but I don't know if you can see that, but
Almost
right there. Hold it.
There you go.
So there's a couple different cameras in there, and it'll take on the bottom. I think there are two, and then maybe overhead also. But
yeah, it's got
I think that some of them are going to be doing different functions for the pass through, obviously. Like some of them are kind of like looking for your hands and stuff like that, but it's able to kind of get some depth to it. And the pass through is really good. It's, high definition. I can do things and watch movies. Right. Like I was talking about cooking eggs and then grabbing the screen and walking around my house when I had to like walk away from the kitchen. But yeah, like it is video. And so when you move your head kind of fast, there's a little bit of tearing that I've seen people kind of complain about. But for me, it's like, I don't think about that at all, really. You understand the context you're in. And it's really, really impressive. The latency, I think, is 12 milliseconds or something like that. And so it's, you put it on immediately and it's like, whoa, like here I am in the room. It's
I didn't know I wasn't looking through I didn't realize that. I thought I was like, it was just showing me like opening up the glass was getting transparent versus opaque or something. I didn't know how that was working. So I didn't notice that it was not, that there was a lag or any of that stuff because, and that was one of the cool things is it gave me a lot of comfort to be able to see the room I was in while using it that I haven't had. Like, I feel like when I put on the VR glasses that you can't see through, it's like, I feel like I'm in danger. Like I can't move around. I can see, but I can't see. And that's freaky.
People are going to sneak up on you and get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. People, even if you're in an immersive experience in this thing, like if people do that, they'll show up in the immersive experience. And so it kind of blends the two. Or if you're about to run into something, it just starts showing you the thing that you're about to run into. And in other VR headsets like the Quest, it's just like, here's like a red line, or like maybe the boundary that you set. You don't set any boundaries in this because it just shows you what's going on. It'll have a little pop-up that says like you're close to an object, but it's tiny.
Sure.
And so that experience is massively improved because it's it breaks the immersion a ton if you like accidentally like step out a touch, but you're not actually super close to anything, and all of a sudden like you see this big grid and I don't know. So the UI, like they just nailed a lot of things that haven't been nailed yet in VR, which kind of set it apart.
You told me like, okay, you got to pinch, to select and look at what you gave me a few tips and I was using it within like 30 seconds and doing stuff with it and figuring it out. Like the learning curve on it was really short to be able to do basic stuff and get through the UI and open up apps and resize screens and all that. It was really intuitive. That's always been like a barrier, is having to, when you're in the virtual world, you're going through a controller of some sort. Like your movements are being translated through some kind of button pushing or whatever. With the Meta, you're holding on to the hand things. This is just gesturing. And if you think you're going to have a problem looking stupid, like you don't even think about it. You're using the app and all of a sudden you're Doctor Strange, but without the special effects. You're moving your hands all over the place. And I've seen the videos now that have like been out on social media of the guy walking down the street with it on and he's gesturing and doing all the stuff and people are making fun of him, or the girl in the Tesla truck with her glasses on while she's driving or while the car is driving.
Yeah.
But there's, like if using one of those little tape recorders to make notes, it's like, you kind of feel self-conscious, and that's a barrier. Is the comfort of doing those things, talking on an earbud while you're out in public, or
like
one of
using
those things.
ChatGPT like voice commands while I'm looking for hardware in the hardware store, and just like like what should I get for this type of wall and this type of
kind of. So it's going to take a bit for like people to be comfortable with that. And I think people will be comfortable using it, and then it's going to be getting used to seeing it and not thinking someone's talking to you or gesturing at you.
I don't see that coming anytime soon. Like even in a lot of the immersive movies, like, where they're doing the screen things in front of a big giant working screen, when they leave the building, they're not having that workroom come with them, right? I don't know. Maybe it'll happen, but I know there's going to be a use case for going shopping or whatever. Like, do I need this? No. Okay. Do I need this? Yes. Hey, you just passed, chicken noodle soup and you're out.
Yeah, I think I was kind of alluding to it before. It's just, the amount of hand gesturing that you can do. There's still a lot of UI, UX experience type of improvements that you can do to make those more subtle. And then, I think that when you're out, you're just kind of like, you set something up. Like I'm going for a run, I set something up in my vision, and maybe once every couple minutes I like grab it and move it a little bit. But you said, you probably going to be at your house most of the time. And
Logan, have you actually run with this on?
No,
not yet. Okay. I was just curious. Another thing they might go to is like just a cell phone keyboard type thing, right? Like you could do quite a bit with just a small gesturing little cell phone sized thing that gets you away from the big hand motions for, out in public use or something like that. Because it is really odd seeing people on the trains with their hands elevated over a pretend keyboard poking at things.
I think what's going to happen is it's people that are using it are going to use it, and the people around them are just going to have to get used to it and get over it. Like it's happening. It's happening.
Not even that bad though, because so the way that the interface works is if you're sitting in the train, like you can be using it without moving your hands at all, because it can see your fingers at your lap, and all you're doing is looking at the different things. And so like when you're making something bigger, like say this is my lap, like you're just looking up in this corner and then going like this, and then that makes it this much bigger. It's not like you're always doing this kind of stuff.
Right. I'm not doing this. Okay.
No. So the tendency is people like, it's kind of like they're squishing tiny heads, like they're looking at everything. And like, I got you. But you can have it at, you just have to make sure that the downward facing cameras can see it, or the upward facing cameras, or the side facing cameras. So after you go out of a certain range, it's not picking anything up. But especially if you're stationary, like at your lap, it will see that just fine.
I don't think that the other VR goggles do eye tracking.
They do.
But this does.
They will. Like the Meta will do face tracking and eye tracking and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm the type of person that like doesn't necessarily want to give Facebook that data, and I feel a little bit more comfortable giving Apple that data, just because Apple's advertising business isn't as big, and they're not. It's kind of like an ecosystem sort of thing, like the ecosystem argument for Apple. They are a little bit better about security and privacy, arguably.
Right.
I would say they're a lot better, but they still have issues, obviously. Like I deleted my Facebook a long time ago, and I kind of had an issue with signing up for another account on the MetaQuest Pro, because I know that they're using all that data. They're using all of it to advertise, and anything that they can basically do with the data, they will. Same with Google. It's like their business is 94% advertising, and you just have a different sort of perspective with it. But it's another reason why I thought
Apple's a hardware company, and not a advertising company
right. So they won't like sell your data. They'll like keep the stuff private, internally. But they will force you to buy a brand new power supply that has a different connector. Well, now Europe's like, no. No, we're not having it. USB-C.
Oddly, that made everybody's lightning cables obsolete. So we were talking about that last night.
So, have you done any work on it? Have you used it to like work on stuff?
Yeah, I've just been testing it out. My brother is really interested in my feedback on that. And so the last couple days, I've probably worn it maybe an hour or two each day and have been, operating within it. So the experience is you put on the headset, you click a little thing that appears over your laptop that just says connect, and then you get a screen that is, you get one screen basically. People have seen that as a limitation, but you can still open any other app within it. So I can have Safari open, I can have Teams, I can have Slack, Joplin for notes, Apple Music. Nice. Like there's more screens than I'm using here. And I have 2 external monitors in my laptop open, and then you can also on your machine, like you swap between the different screen settings. I thought that was my coffee for a second. Like, oh, there they go. Like, let's watch them burn.
Save the Vision Pro.
But yeah, it's interesting. Like the things that are kind of annoying about it are you have to get used to when you can use your mouse and keyboard. And so you switch between those 2 different UIs, which is a little bit goofy. Yeah, you can use your keyboard on most of the apps. I think on all of the apps, you can use it as an input. But there were a couple times where it wasn't quite picking it up. And the flow, if it's not seamless, it's distracting. So I don't know if that's like a user error or a like operating system error. Also just things that they can improve. The mouse only works on your keyboard, or not your keyboard, but your laptop or whatever you're kind of casting to it. And you have a tendency to want to move the mouse around. So then you have to, I got to go back to eyes for this. So I was a little bit frustrated one of the days, probably the day that I didn't get as much sleep as the other days. And then I was using it again today and did that demo that we'll probably share at the end. So it's like, there's good things about it too. You can slide the crown and be in whatever environment you select. And these environments are basically like the Apple screensavers or backgrounds that they ship with. Like there's always a new one, nice. Big Sur or whatever. And so you're kind of like sitting in the desert in Joshua Tree or sitting on the moon or on the top of a mountain. And if you want to kind of just close out the rest of the world, it actually does create a sense of focus that's, it's really cool. One of the other things that I noticed is the sound from your computer is not quite, it's not connected to your Vision Pro. So I'm still hearing the sound come from my speakers in my room. But, if you're using an app inside, then like there's not a 2-way connection for that, if that makes sense. Like it's not the computer is able to say like, oh, play this sound on the Apple Vision Pro also, but another software thing probably.
Yeah, it'll come.
And so
I feel like we're going to have you join us here in your virtual headspace, if we can, before we run out of time, just to get a feel for it. Kyle, you in for that?
It's ridiculous. I called my friend a little bit earlier, and she was laughing hysterically because she said it looked like I was on steroids. My neck was super huge or whatever.
Oh, nice.
And nice. That's like a great thing. But she was laughing.
So it pumps you up a little bit. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so in order to set it up, basically, so these are personas they're called. You hold the thing in front of you, and it will have you move your head around, smile, and then raise your eyebrows and stuff. And then it creates a uncanny valley version. So I'll come back, and that's what I'll be.
It's uncanny. So this is the future now. This is gonna be everybody walking around is gonna look like Logan does right now with these goggles.
Yeah, you're
in the virtual world.
Personas.
We're gonna have Tom Hanks from Polar Express.
So
he's both.
Yeah, you could do both. You can see. Well, I don't know what the audio is going to do, but you could definitely do both. You can see yourself and see your fake self.
Okay, it has like a transfer that I don't really understand the options. Add this device or transfer this device. And so I'm just gonna drop here quick and then rejoin in a second.
We'll see you back.
Or something that looks like you.
I think that's amazing. Like it's just a super powerful thing that now I want one too. Look at that. That was back fast.
Oh my gosh.
So I redid it. The one that I did before was I had my hair down and it made my neck look like it was black, basically. Like the long hair thing, it just cuts off right around the frame of your face.
Well, yeah, and they've trimmed your beard a little bit and given a little bit more neck, but we can still see your sweatshirt that you're wearing.
Yeah, well, that's what I recorded it in. So
I tell you, it's not incredibly horrible. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I look pretty bad to begin with, so
you can put it in catfish mode. Makes you look a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's very representative. Like if you were to call me on a video call, I would know who I was talking to, not without the name or without the name, just from the face, because it'd be like, oh, that's Logan. He's calling me.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to the audio, we get a chance. You want to watch the video version at about the 49-minute mark around there if you want to see Logan. Virtual Logan
for a while.
It meets the minimum system requirements for not being creepy.
It's a little uncanny, but I agree. It's I'm fine with it. I was expecting to not be fine with it. You can kind of adjust the lighting so that it's like, this is the studio mode. They have like a contour mode, which makes me look as, old as I am. Like my bags under my eyes are a little bit better and like maybe have some skin blemishes and stuff like that. But like, if it doesn't look quite right, you can adjust it, and you can also kind of like, it's not going to, like make you look like, supermodel or anything like that. But like, it will help with some of the things that maybe you'd be apprehensive to share or whatever. I don't know what I'm saying, but it wouldn't be.
Would it be out of the realm for you to Kyle or myself's picture and then join teams as us? Would it?
I'm not sure. I'm going to try that now that you mentioned
the impersonation factor. Because it's if you're just wearing the goggles using Teams, everything is going through the UI or whatever. Like, so the ability to change your voice, change your, it's like appearing as somebody else, impersonating somebody else. Like you gotta keep them from making it too good.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wasn't thinking the evil sense of things. I was just thinking the humorous sense. Like, I know the humorous sense of just showing up to a meeting as your boss or whatever, because they used your headset last time or, something like that, I think would be funny.
It would be hard to trick somebody into accidentally doing it. That's all I'll say is like they would be consenting, because basically you have to go through a set of instructions like, hey, do you mind, these, ignore this, but turn your head a little bit to the right and then to the left.
Just hold still. I'm just gonna do this for no real reason here.
I'm not doing
all right, Logan. That's our mission. Is I'll do the persona thing with your goggles, and then we'll be on a meeting together, and you'll be virtual Kyle, and I'll be like, wait, what's going on? I'll act like I don't know what's going on.
I already want a software update that allows me to get my cat's image so that I can just show up as Moo or Worm. And
I tell you what,
that'd be dope.
When we started doing these video meetings, people had that snap camera, and we had one meeting where two of the guys were, now he's a pickle, now he's a potato, and it was the whole time they were just goofing around with their camera. It's like, potato. I feel like you're not focused right now, pickle. So let's talk about the price. $4,000, I figure, if I had to get the, with tax, and if I have to get the special glasses stuff.
Yep. Storage too. It starts at 256, goes up to a terabyte. And then the Apple Care, I think, is $400 or $500 on it, and you probably want to do that, I guess. It's expensive, and I wouldn't necessarily say that it's for everybody. I didn't go into debt or anything buying it. I have been planning for it for a while, and
they gave you a year to save up, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of think about it the same way I think about, justifying music equipment. Like if you think about the like a music equipment industry, how many kids can afford 99% of the things that you see in like a guitar catalog? Like that's for people that have become wealthy enough to buy toys, and
Yeah.
not a lot of people will bat an eye on like, oh yeah, I got a $5,000 Gibson and I play it once every month or something like that, and it's kind of like a wall decoration or something. So I kind of look at it like that. It's something that I was excited about. I think that I can use it at my job, and I can use it to kind of get into just doing development with it, or at least kind of being able to be I'm a consultant now. Like I can consult on whether it might be useful for a company and be able to speak to what it does. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying it at home. I think that I'm already wishing that there was more content. And that's not to say that like there isn't a killer app. It's just like I want to experience more and more things with frame of reference. And
so, like Kyle, you're kind of got that itch to use it more and more, right? And so you need some more things on there to make it easier to use more often.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I still put it on and I haven't run out of things that I like doing. I just, I found this really cool like spatial synthesizer thing the other day that's like a third-party sort of app, it looks like, and you use your fingers like kind of like a theremin. One of them's volume and one of them is pitch, and I just had the demo version, but like I was playing with that for like a half hour, and it's not insanely it's just like a little toy sort of thing, but I want people to get their hands on it and start playing with it. I want I think just having AAA sort of video game content playable through it. I haven't tried with I think you can hook up Steam to it. I haven't tried that quite yet, but I definitely want to. And what else? Yeah, there's definitely things that if people don't want to spend $4,000 on it, I'm not going to tell them that they're wrong. It's
right. It's not a must-have yet, but it's coming.
Yeah. Well, you made a good point. In the chat, like look at what other pastimes that people spend money on where no one bats an eye. Like,
yeah, there's like a hater effect is what I call it. It's like there's people that are like, oh, look at that, and you just like, hey, do you want to try it? Like that's kind of my attitude about it. Like I'll bring it and like I don't care to use it. I'll just give it to you and you can play around with it and have fun. And usually people are pretty impressed by it, and it's like, oh, awesome. I'm glad I got a chance to see it. But
I would rather have spent the money on these than my cruise I went on. That cruise was a week, and now I don't have it.
Yeah,
it's gone. Like I have a toy ship of the boat, so it's like that's 7 days of or if somebody's really into biking, they ride their bike to work 30 miles a day, and they said I spent $5,000 on a new bike. It's got this ultralight, blah blah blah. It's like there's awesome. Things that expensive that people invest in. They invest in their hobbies,
and you're like, yes, you're not like, oh, that was a dumb idea. You're like, that's really cool. Like, man, I wish that I could afford every single one of those things that I want to do. Because it'd be fun to ride a $5,000 bike around, but then you get an Alpha Vision Pro and it's like, nerd,
Yeah, you spend that much on a snowmobile and you ride it once a year, maybe, or like, no, some people get into stuff and they use it a lot. I think if you buy these things and you use them, then that's, if it's what you're interested in, it's what you want to spend your money on, then it's not a big deal. The shame comes when you buy something and it sits there collecting dust that you spend a lot of money for. But it sounds like there's enough, and I experienced enough where I feel like I could sit and watch movies on it and play games, and there would be enough to keep me busy as much as I wanted to be busy with it. I don't know I don't know if I get a headache after a half an hour. I haven't worn that long.
Yeah, I haven't had any of that stuff. So I have a story about the Quest Pro with that. It was the PlayStation VR. So I went to I played a little bit of Call of the Mountain, the Horizon game, and I immediately had to go to Walgreens and get like a variety of Dramamine products. So like the motion sickness stuff is like ginger chews you can get. It turns out there's like a thing that you can get for your hand that is like or maybe it's your wrist. It's like a pressure point thing.
Wristband. Yep.
Yeah, and I haven't had any of that with this yet. Again, granted, there's not a ton of disoriented immersive experiences yet, but yeah, it's like it will keep you busy. There's going to be like this curve of Sorry, I just got a text in here that's distracting. I thought silence this. They release a certain amount of stuff that's actually for the Vision Pro, and then there's going to be, it needs to keep you busy enough until people start releasing more stuff or they start releasing more stuff.
Yeah, it's going to click.
I think it's much more likely that will happen than not, I guess. But, if I'm wrong, you can all point and laugh at me. And you can all point and laugh at me regardless.
Well, we'll check back and we'll see if you're wrong in like a year or so. We'll give it 12 months. Yeah. I think that that's a good place to stop. I think I'm going to go try it. I'm going to go get a fitting, see how it goes, and I'll report back. But until then, I think we can.
And if you both have them, I'll probably be jealous and have to go buy one too.
Yeah. Well, let's shut her down. Thanks for joining us, Logan. And thanks for letting me try them last week. And let's say goodbye, everybody.
All right. Take care.
Solution Design Group is a digital product consultancy in Minneapolis. Check us out on the web at solutiondesign.com or look for us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Solution Design Group.